When it comes to the conversation around running improvement, there are so many different directions we can take that conversation, from strength training to longer runs to faster runs to slower runs, recovery, diet, sleep. There's endless amounts of topics that we can focus on. But within the realm of simply adjusting something in your running, I don't think there's a better way to see improvements in the pace that you can run and for the duration of being able to maintain that pace than interval running. Today, I want to talk to you about how a focused attention on interval running can see some pretty radical improvements in your own running performance. What am I even talking about when I refer to interval training? Essentially, interval training is just going out and running a certain distance at a certain pace, taking a rest, and doing it again. Depending on what event you're training for is going to dictate the pace, the distance, and the recovery that you're doing. But often, interval training is run at a pace which is slightly faster than the race pace that you're training for. So say, for example, you're trying to run a marathon and you're trying to maintain 4-minute K pace for that marathon. Well, one of the beauties of interval training is you might go out and you'll run 3 minutes and 45 to 3 minutes and 50 seconds for 8 times 1K with a 60-second recovery in between. Obviously, this is ticking the bases of improving your own running fitness, but beyond that, you're developing the ability to get comfortable running slightly faster than your goal race pace. What's the benefit of this? Well, obviously, if you've got to go out on race day and maintain 4-minute kilometer pace, then the idea of that being the fastest training that you've done is a little bit nerve-wracking, because if you're going out there on race day and trying to run at your maximum pace that you've trained at, that's going to feel close to the edge of your threshold level. So the idea of bringing the pace down a little bit to 345 to 350, first of all, improves your fitness, but second of all, increases your confidence in your ability to run the pace that you need to run without being terrified by it. This applies to the marathon, but it also applies to events as short as 800 meters. So if you're looking for a way to get comfortable running at a pace which is faster than your race pace, interval training is a good place to start. Okay, but how do we do it? How do we decide what style of interval training it is that we're going to want to do? And how often do we do it? I would recommend, if you're newer to the sport of distance running, to max out at about 1 interval training session per week. The reason for this is because obviously the intensity that we're hitting out an interval training session at is a little bit more intense than what we're going out and doing our longer, slower runs on. So that means that if we're doing 1 session per week, we've hopefully got plenty of time in between those sessions to recover with our easy runs and to take a little bit of time away. If you start throwing in 2 or 3 interval sessions a week, it gets really sketchy as to how well you're recovering. So I would say start at 1 session per week, particularly if you're training for something slightly longer. It's really difficult to give any one-size-fits-all answer to how fast you should run your reps and how far you should run your reps if I don't know what it is in particular that you're training for. For example, a marathon runner is going to be doing a very different training routine than an 800-meter runner trying to run 150 for 800 meters. The pace that you need for one is very different to the endurance that you need for the other. If you would like a little more clarity, feel free to let me know in the comments below what it is that you're training for and what a good interval training session might look like in accordance to the goal that you've set for yourself. I'd be more than happy to help you there. The other beneficial thing that you're going to tap into with interval running, based on the fact that you're running faster and you've got quite short recovery, is you're going to hit a point within that session where things are very uncomfortable. Now, the beauty with hitting a point where things are very uncomfortable is it helps you in a number of ways. Well, first of all, your body's forced to adapt to this discomfort. You're forced to try and stay relaxed. You're forced to try and maintain your technique. You're forced to experience what that race day discomfort feels like. This is something that marathon world record holder Eliud Kipchoge speaks about. He says, even in my discomfort, I force myself to run smoothly. It's a habit that can be developed, and interval training is a perfect training ground to be able to develop that technique. Like most areas of running, there's a variety of ways that you can approach the interval training, and there's no one size fits all based on you as an athlete, based on your goals, based on your experience in the sport, based on your injury history. So as I said, if you've got any specific questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to help you along there. But for today, that is all from me. Happy training, and let's continue the conversation down in the comments below.